Hello, friends. Hello, Miss Murray. Hello, Miss Murray. We're going to start on low do, up to high do, and back down to low do. Sing quietly so you can match my note. We're going to start here on do. Ready? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. All right, time for our rhythm play along. So we don't have the rhythm sticks we've been using, so you're going to need to find something you can use for sticks, like pencils or markers. Crayons probably won't work, maybe spoons. You've also got your hands. So whatever you have around you, you're prepared. So the song that we're going to be doing for our play along is something I think you might know. The rhythms we're using are ta. So I'm going to be playing down here, ta. Then this one is sh. And the two together are ti-ti. Okay, those are the three rhythms we're going to be using. So get ready. Here we go. Follow the boot. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Top, 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 top. New rhythm. Here we go. And top, top, shh, top, 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 shh, top. Okay. New rhythm. Here we go. Top, top, ti, top, 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 ti, top. New rhythm. Take a look. Ready? Ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta. New rhythm. This one starts. Ready? Shh, ti, shh, ta, shh, ti, shh, ta, shh, ti, shh, ta. New rhythm. 2 TTs in a row. Here we go. T, shh, shh. T, shh, shh. T, shh, shh. New rhythm. 3 in a row. T, ta. T, ta. T, ta. Last one. Get ready. T, ta, ta. T, ta, ta. T. So, friends, I said that the reason why I'm not here this week is because we are taking the students.
He's my miracle child.
The students in 4th grade.
Miracle child get cancer.
We're taking them to go see the Philharmonic. So I thought a really good idea would be for us to also take a look at the instruments that we can find in the band and the orchestra. So we're going to start here with most of the instruments that you can find in an orchestra. We've got the piano, the double bass, the marimba. Now, right there at the bottom of the page, it says banjo. That's a pretty unusual instrument for an orchestra. But the cello and the trombone and the snare drum, those are all very usual instruments that you find in a band and an orchestra. So we're going to start with the family of percussion instruments. Remember, percussion instruments are instruments that make noise when you hit them or rattle them or shake them. Okay, so that's not a trumpet. That's not a violin or a guitar. These are some of the instruments that we use in percussion, things like the triangle, the tambourine, maracas, marimba, and then down there at the bottom we have the piano. Now, you don't hit a piano to make it make noise, but when you press the key on the inside of the piano, a hammer that's covered in felt jumps up and strikes the string. So because the hammer is the thing hitting the string, the piano is considered a percussion instrument. So we're going to start here with the bass drum. We've got this young man. You can see he's wearing his bass drum. So he's got both of his hands free, and he can hit the bass drum on either side with the big mallets that he's holding. So let's take a listen to what a bass drum sounds like. So bass drum can make a lot of noise. Okay, the next instrument we're going to be looking at is the gong. And a gong is one piece of metal. It's usually round, and it's struck also with a mallet. So two cymbals together would make cymbals, two pieces of round metal, but one piece of round metal is a gong. Let's listen to what a gong sounds like. So that piece of metal can really go for a long time and make lots of noises. So our next percussion instrument is the piano. And I found a video of a young boy who has clearly, even though he's very young, he's been playing the piano for some time. He is from India. We're going to be hearing him play the piano. So he's very small, but he's clearly been playing the piano for a long time. So next up is the snare drum. So the young lady is modeling what the snare drum looks like. You notice that she is also wearing the snare drum, and that gives her two arms free to hold a stick in each arm so that she can use it to make snare noises. So I found this video clip of these young men. They're all wearing their snares, and it must have been during the pandemic. All of them have masks on. So we're going to hear what they sound like, a whole neighborhood, it looks like, full of young men playing the snare drum. So it looks like they spent some time during the pandemic practicing. So now we're going to be looking at the marimba. Now, the marimba and the xylophone and the vibraharp, they all look kind of the same. Marimba is made out of wood. The xylophone and the vibraharps are made out of metal. And this group that we're going to be hearing play is a very large group of students, and they're playing a lot of instruments. Some of the students are several students on one instrument at a time, all playing together.
Ready, go.
So that was a whole lot of students. They actually had a drummer in the back playing the drum set to keep everybody together. So the next one up is the cymbals. So those cymbal players were all wearing uniforms. It looks like they're in high school. Not only were they playing the cymbals, they had choreography. So they had it all made it into a very fancy thing. So next up is the timpani. The timpani is also called the kettle drums. They're very large. There's at least 3 of them together, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 or 6. Usually the timpani is saved for the high school students, but we can see that we've got a young lady. She doesn't look about 7 years old, and she's going to be playing a timpani solo for us. So next up is a whole ensemble made up of nothing but percussion players. So we've got marimbas, we've got chimes, we've got a bass drum, we've got some timpani back there. We have all kinds of different percussion instruments all playing together, and they're only percussion instruments. There's no trumpets, there's no violins, nothing else. We're going to be hearing The Flight of the Bumblebee. I've chosen this song because it's short. It's very fast, it's very exciting, and we're going to hear each of the families play that song. So you're going to hear that song over and over and how it sounds differently played on different instruments. So here is a percussion ensemble with Rimsky-Korsakov's Flight of the Bumblebee. That was the whole song. It's very short. So next up is the string family of instruments. So which instruments are those? That includes the violin, the viola, that's the bigger brother of the violin, the cello, even bigger, the double bass, so large you have to play it standing up or sitting on a tall stool. 2 other string instruments in this family are the guitar, the ukulele, and the harp. So we're going to start with the violin. I found this adorable picture of this young man who looks like he's in a mariachi group playing the violin. And the lady that we're going to hear play is a 6-year-old playing a song that I think you're going to recognize. So obviously the next line is Let It Go. I thought you might have recognized that one. So next up is the cello. So the cello, as you can see, is much larger than the violin. You do not hold it under your chin. In fact, it's so large you have to play sitting down. It has a peg, so it keeps it away from you, and you hold it between your legs. So we're going to be hearing a young man play the cello. So the cello is an instrument that says it is the closest to sounding like the human voice. Next up is the double bass. So as you can see, this young man is standing while he is playing the double bass, and the double bass is still taller than he is. I didn't find any children playing the double bass, but I did find a whole group of people playing the double bass. In fact, they're playing the theme from the Pink Panther. So that sounds familiar if you watched cartoons and the Pink Panther. So next up is an entire string quartet. So we've got the double bass standing up at the back, the cello is sitting in the front, and a violin and a viola on either side. This young man playing the cello is a child prodigy on the cello, and they are playing, once again, The Flight of the Bumblebee. I believe he was 9 when he was playing this. That young boy started playing the cello when he was 3. He said his first cello was so small he played it like a ukulele before he started taking lessons. So we're moving on to the brass family of instruments. Which instruments are those? Those are instruments that are gold-colored or brass-colored, like the trumpet, the trombone, the French horn, the euphonium, which is also called the baritone, and the tuba. So first up, we have the trumpet, and this young man is going to be playing the trumpet for us. He is being accompanied by the harp. So the next one up is the trombone. Now, this is a very famous trombone player. His name is Trombone Shorties, and I don't even know what his real name is, but Trombone Shorty started playing the trombone, as you can see from this picture, when he was a very young boy. And this video we have of Trombone Shorty is when he was 13 years old, playing with adults at the jazz festival. Trombone Shorty is a grown-up now, still playing jazz, so he's a little bit taller than that now. Next up is the euphonium, also called the baritone. So we have a photo of a young girl holding a euphonium, which isn't brass colored, it's silver colored. So sometimes the brass instruments are silver colored or copper colored. But I found a video of a man playing all 5 parts on one type of euphonium, a baritone. One song, he's playing all of the parts. So the baritone sounds very rich and full. So let's talk about the French horn. So that young man has been playing the French horn for a long time. He is also now a grown-up. Next one is the tuba, the largest of the instruments, which means it is the lowest sounding. It plays the lowest notes. As you can see in the picture, we have several different sizes of tubas. And now we are going to hear a young man with a very large tuba. So he's going to be playing some very low notes for us. So you'd have to have a pretty big car to be able to carry around a tuba. We're going to hear the brass ensemble. This is Canadian brass, and they are also playing for us the flight of the Bumblebee. So we're going to talk now about the woodwind family of instruments. Now, the interesting thing about the woodwind family is they're not made out of wood. They're made out of brass, like the brass family, but they were originally made out of wood, which is why they're called the woodwinds, even though now they're made out of metal, just like the brass instruments. So, which pieces are in that family? We have the flute, its tiny sister, the piccolo, the clarinet, the oboe, the bassoon, the saxophone, and the recorder, which you will probably be playing in the 4th grade. So we're going to start here with the flute, and we have a young lady playing a famous piece from England, Scarborough Fair. Up next, the saxophone. There are several members of a saxophone family: the soprano, the alto, the tenor, the bari sax. So he's holding the tenor in the blue shirt, and then the kid we're going to listen to is playing an alto saxophone, a song from Star Wars. So I don't know if you might recognize this one. So that's the Cantina Band from Star Wars. Next up is clarinet. As you can see, the clarinet is all black. It's held in front. Squidward plays the clarinet. And the difference between the clarinet and the oboe is the mouthpiece, the part that you put in your mouth, is all black. And on the oboe, it's not. So that's one of the differences to look for. This young man is so famous in England, he has played the clarinet for the Queen of England. Wow, that was a very fast song. Plays a lot better than Squidward does. So next up is the oboe and the bassoon. Now these instruments are unusual. You will not find them in an elementary school, sometimes not even in a junior high. These are specialty instruments that you might be able to look at in high school. So that's why we're ganging them together. As you can see, the oboe looks like the clarinet. It is black, but as you can see in her mouth is it's tan colored. It's made out of bamboo. She has the reed in her mouth instead of the black part of the clarinet in her mouth. So that's the difference between the oboe and the clarinet. And the bassoon is very long. So I picked a piece where they're both playing oboe and bassoon at the same time. The bassoon is bigger, so it plays lower notes. And last is the Woodwind Quintet, performing, once again, the Flight of the Bumblebee. There is a special guest in the Woodwind Quintet. It's not a woodwind instrument. So there's a quiz at the end. Tell me which one of the Woodwind Quintet is not a woodwind. So the instrument right in the middle was a French horn, and we saw the French horn in the brass instruments. So we had a oboe and a clarinet and a bassoon and a flute and a French horn. So the French horn isn't a woodwind, even though it's part of the Woodwind Quintet. So team, I will see you next week. We're going to say goodbye. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, Miss Murray. Goodbye, Miss Murray.